What's up, people? Brother Brian back in the garage. Come back with you with another video today. Talking about stereo equipment. Talk about records and music. At the beginning of the video, you see there was a turntable. Okay, that was my latest acquisition. Okay, it was a VPI turntable that I picked up. Kind of struggled with that purchase, honestly. I got it off of eBay. eBay's really not the greatest place to buy things from. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes, most of the time, it's really not. But I really like the turntable. But more so than the actual turntable, the Dynavector tone arm. Okay, I really like. I mean, that was kind of the selling point for me on that turntable. The guy had it listed on there. It's just a turntable with no tone arm. But in his pictures, he had it. He had a picture with the Dynavector tone arm on in the pictures, right? And his price on the actual turntable was really good. So I was just curious. I was like, I wonder if this guy's gonna, if he's willing and able to deal. So I sent him a message, and I said, how much for the turntable and the tone arm in your picture? And he responded back. He says, "Hey, make me an offer." I was like, "Okay, I'll make him an offer, right?" So I sent him an offer, and I thought it was a fair offer. Okay, it was kind of low, if you ask me. But I was like, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to. I mean, ain't that the way that you do it? You don't go at it right at the top, right? You kind of start low and work your way up. So he responds back, "Hey man, that's a good offer." He goes, I'll upgrade my auction right now. And I was like, holy shit, man. What am I doing here? It's like I'm being committed. So I was like, I gotta slow this guy down a little bit, man. I gotta think about this for a second, right? I gotta think about what I'm doing here, man. I just threw this guy an offer. This guy's like, he's all about it, man. I'm like, shit. Now I'm getting a little nervous, having a little buyer's nervousness. You know what I'm saying? This ain't like a $200 purchase here. So it's like there's a pulley cover on that. That's an HW19 VPI. Okay, they're not like the better ones. They're just like, they're older too. It's an older turntable. It's a nice turntable, but it's an older turntable. And there's a pulley in the cover on the pulley's missing. So I was like, okay. And so I just kind of blew him off a little bit. I said, man, I don't really have the money today. I said, and do you have the cover, the cover for that pulley for the motor? Do you have a motor cover? And he said, he goes, yeah, I got it somewhere. He goes, I got to go look for it. And then he started communicating with me. He's a very nice guy. He said that he has a studio down in Florida. And what they used the turntable for was like an archivist where they'd archive music, and they used that turntable to get the music into the studio and off of the album and put it into the computer. Okay, he was an archivist. That's what he used the turntable for. And so he's like, give me a couple days. And I'm like, all right, cool. That'll give me a couple days to think about what the hell I'm doing here. So it's like one day I'd wake up and I'd say, man, I'm going to buy it. But then the next day I'd wake up and I'd say, man, I don't know if I want to buy it or not. It's just such a hassle, man. So this guy, I kind of blew him off a little bit, right? So this guy is trying to sweeten the deal to get me to pull the trigger, right? So he comes at me and he says, "Man, I found two cartridges, man. I found two head shells." Um, he goes, I found a Dynavector photo preamp. He goes, I'll send that with it. He said, I got the VPI speed control, for your turntable speed control. He goes, I've got that. He goes, I'll send you this. And he's throwing all this stuff at me, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, man, this is a pretty good deal, man. This is turning out to be a pretty damn good deal. So about a week goes by, man, and I'm still kind of nervous about pulling the trigger on this thing, right? So he gets back at me. He goes, man, what's up? He's a super nice guy, man. He's like, what's up? And he goes, I'm going to chase the auction back if you can't commit, man. Kind of this pull, kind of. I said, well, where's the motor cover? I said, you got that motor cover? And he didn't say fuck the motor cover, but he came back. He's like, man, you could buy one of them on eBay for $30. He goes, what's the deal? I'm like, oh shit, man, he's calling me out on this deal, man. So I was just like, I told him, I said, look, man, I said I'm nervous. Just told him, I said, man, buying this turntable. I said, I said, I don't even know if this thing works right. I said, do you even know how to ship a turntable? Because this is over a 50-pound turntable. The thing weighs 55 pounds, right? Probably more than that. It's probably closer to 60 because it's got that big platter on it, right? And he came back, and man, he was just super nice, super professional, man. He's like, man, you ain't got to worry about a thing. He goes, this thing is plug and play. He goes, it's a great turntable. You're going to be happy. So, and the guy's feedback, he's like 100%. So I was like, you know what, man? I was like, fuck it. I never even responded back to him. Man, I just bought it. I hit the buy it now. I fucking paid for it, man. Just immediately paid for it. And didn't say shit to him, man. And I was just like, I've probably caused this guy a lot of aggravation by fucking with him, putting him off and shit. But it was a struggle, it was a struggle for me. So it's like the next day, it was like I think it was Wednesday or Thursday is when I bought it. Okay, and I'm not in a hurry. Okay, I'm not a person of speed. I don't want you to immediately ship it out. That's not me. Okay, to me, it's just more about take the time to package this thing up properly, and do a good job. So I didn't bother him. I just bought it. I paid for it, and then the next day he contacted me. He's very good at communication. He contacted me. He said, look, man, he goes, this is what we're going to do. He goes, I'm going to take this thing apart. He goes, it's going to come in 4 boxes. You're going to have your base. You're going to have a base for the platter. There's 2 bases. There's a wood base and then there's an acrylic base. And he says, I'm going to send the platter and then all the accessories will be in another. He said there's going to be 4 boxes with this thing, man. And that made me feel better, too, that he's going to take the time. And he said, I'm not going to ship it till Monday, right? So I was like, all right, that's fine, man. I never, I'm like, okay, cool. That's all I said. I said, cool, man. He said, I'm going to take the weekend to take the time to box it up, right, man? And, I mean, he had cartridges and, like I said, the speed controller and stuff. Hell, that speed controller, that thing's probably worth $500 by itself, So you had this Pickering cartridge, which I'm not, it's just okay cartridge, But it's like brand new. It's in this velvet box from back in the day, And he's got all these extra stylus for it, right? So I got that. He had another cartridge. I don't even know what the hell the thing is. I think it's like a Shure cartridge or something. Maybe it's an Ortofon. But anyway, the guy was cool. Monday, he emailed me again. He sent me a list of each box, what was in each box, tracking numbers. And then on top of that, he came back and he said that he has the record weight. He's going to send the record weight and some other things, some cables and stuff. It came with Kimber cables and stuff. So I was kind of nervous, man. I was like, man, what have I done? You know? It's like you just bought a turntable off eBay, man. Like a expensive turntable. So he shipped it FedEx. And it was a few days later, it arrived at the house, and there was the FedEx guy came, I sat here, waited on it all day, said it was out for delivery. It didn't show up till almost 5 o'clock, which is fine. The FedEx guy comes, man, and the boxes were in good shape, man. It was 4 boxes, and then there was another box that was still in the mail with some other nonsense. All the boxes were good. I opened it up, and everything was cool. The turntable works perfect. The tote arm's in perfect condition, man. So it ended up being a good deal for me. It all worked out, man. But yeah, I was a nervous wreck, man. You go buy something like that, man. You get it. The box is crushed. It's just. I think the platter. It's got the upgraded platter. It's not your normal HW19, okay? The motor's been replaced. It's got a beautiful motor. The motor's strong and quiet. It's got the upgraded platter. It's got the Dynavector. Basically, I just wanted it for that Dynavector. I think that's a 507 Dynavector on there. Dynavector, if you're not familiar with them, man, they've been around forever. I think they're manufactured in Japan. They're an incredible tote arm. Basically, the tote arm is solid. It's just stationary. It rides on a track. It's got 2 wings on the back like an airplane. It kind of balances it out. Like your tote arm does this. It goes up and down. The Dynavector, if you watch the video, just the tip of it, just the very tip of the Dynavector goes up and down. The rest of the tote arm is solid. I think the tote arm itself weighs 3 pounds, if I'm right. Could be wrong, but I think it weighs 3 pounds just for that fucking tote arm. Which basically means that tote arm, as far as the resonance goes, it's solid, man. That it is smooth as glass. It's unbelievable how smooth it is. Daisy's having a little party. And another nice thing about that tote arm is you could take the head shells off. It's got a screw on there. In most high-end audio, high-end tote arms, you can't do that with, okay? It just doesn't work. But because of the way that the Dynavector is designed, okay, it is so above and beyond over-engineered, man. The thing is just, it works, man. And it is, man, when that thing goes into the groove, man, it just runs, it runs perfect. She came and barked at me because she wanted me to look at her. I love her, man. She's sweet. But anyway, there you go. My new turntable. Yeah, I'm really happy I got it, man. Hopefully the thing lasts me the rest of my life. I know the tote arm will. Even if, let's say something happens with the VPI, it's not a big deal. I've got the price I paid for that is basically the price for the Dynavector. The turntable and all the other shit was free. If that gives you an idea of how much I paid for it. It was a fucking hell of a deal. And, yeah, so even if the turntable, something happens down the road, I'm still ahead because investment-wise, they had that Dynavector. You can slap that on just about any turntable, and it's going to perform. It's fantastic tote arm. So, there you have it. I got some records this week. Kind of go over these with you. Show you what I picked up if you want to see. Mainly a lot of country music. This is a religious, like Willie Nelson here. It's called The Troublemaker, dedicated to Carlene. So the name of the album is The Troublemaker. Uncloudy Day, When the Rolls Called Up Yonder, Whispering Hope, In the Garden. You know, it's just a gospel album with Willie Nelson. So very good. I like gospel albums. I love Willie Nelson. For whatever reason, man, I found me some Willies this week, man. Some nice Willies. The condition of this is fantastic, man. I think it's on the old Columbia. I'm not gonna pull that one out. And then I picked up a couple pop albums, okay, which is kind of outside of my box. Normally I don't buy pop albums, but this particular group I do enjoy. I seen these. These were in the new arrival bid where they have the used records. Uh, Imagine Dragons. This is Night Visions. This album to me, it's just a fantastic, man. It's a classic album, man. Radioactive, Demons, On Top of the World, Amsterdam, Hear Me. I loved it. You know, I love this group for as a pop group. The guy's voice is phenomenal. The drumming is amazing on this album. The quality, the sound quality, I think this might be their first album, if I'm not mistaken. It came out in 2012. The sound quality is it's not really like a great sound quality. And then I picked this one up. This was sitting right next to it. So probably the same person, you know, donated these. This is the name of this album is called Evolve. So in other words, the sound quality on this one is much better. This is a 2017 release. They had better engineers and, you know, they had their act together much better on this album. So I picked those two up. Probably not really your cup of tea, but I enjoy Imagine Dragons. And then I seen on my Facebook in Omega Music, I got these in Omega Music, that Soulfly was reissuing a lot of their albums, man. So I was like, ooh, man. And it's weird, man. It's like I really enjoy this hard, heavy, tribal, spiritual type heavy metal. And most people, they don't even like them, man. You know, it's just weird. This is a gatefold. This one here is called Prophecy. It's a brand new release. I mean, I don't know if this is your thing. Probably not your thing. But it's like a bunch of hippies, man. As far as I'm concerned, man. These guys kind of kick ass. So I got that, Prophecy. And I picked up this one here, Soulfly. They had this one. This one here is just a self-titled album, man. And I listened to all these this morning. It's Saturday morning. And man, I tell you, I had it cranking, man. I had this shit cranking. I know my neighbors were hearing some Soulfly. This is the album right here. I think this was called Primitive. Yeah, Primitive. This is the one to get. Like if you're looking for an entry level killer Soulfly, this is the one. Those other ones are really good, but this is the one. This was the one I had so much fun with this morning. The sound quality on this thing is really good. For a heavy metal band, you know, for heavy metal, it's pretty good sound quality. The inner sleeve is really nice. Like I said, it revolves around multicultural spiritualism, uh, primitive. Very good album, man. It's weird. It's like I talked to different people about this, and not just one or two people, but you know, they're just like, oh, I don't really like Soulfly, man. And it seems like that most people that I talk to, they really just don't like Soulfly. I mean, it's not like their music isn't like some serious stuff, man. I mean, it's just a heavy metal album, you know. It's just very cool. And Then I went down to this other store. It's down in Franklin. I got those at Omega. These next ones I got down at this other place. And they had a lot of country music, man. They had this Willie Nelson album here. And it says, Me and Paul. And Paul English, okay? I'm assuming Paul English. He says he's on drums and percussion. And B. Spears, Bobby Nelson, Mickey Raphael, Jody Payne on the guitar. This album right here, man, this is a fucking great Willie Nelson album. This is a 1971 release. Look at Willie, his beard's gone. But the sound quality on this thing is just absolutely phenomenal, man. And they had this one. They had 2 copies of this. This is a Willie Nelson, and it's called the Collector Series. And Nightlife, Funny How Time Slips Away, Crazy Arms, San Antonio Rose, Born to Lose. Man, this is just a phenomenal album here. Collector's Series. Let's pull this out. I'll show you what the label looks like. I don't know. This says Collector Series. It's on RCA Victor. So it's a nice label. This thing was sealed. When I got it, it was sealed. It was still in the shrink wrap. Never was played. It plays brand new. So they had 2 copies of this particular album. They were like $8 each, you know. So yeah, fantastic Willies. Then they had some Stanley Brothers albums, the best of the Stanley Brothers. This one here's got Rain Stranger, Little Maggie, Sweeter Than the Flowers, Sunny Side of the Mountain. This is on Star Day, which is this is an old release, man, an old Stanley Brothers. Then here's a Canadian press of the Stanley Brothers. Uncloudy Day. I think this is more of your gospel. It says Glory Land Ways, Amazing Grace, I'm a Pilgrim. You know, it's just a fantastic album. This one still got the shrink wrap on it. Paid $8 for it. This one here, this was my next one here. This was probably the best Ralph Stanley bluegrass album that I found this week. Old Home Place. This is an old one, man. Look at see how the typing is on it. It's got some old Ralph Stanley. Ralph Stanley sitting there, an artist rendition of him with this little beagle here where looks like they're hunting. He's got this back in the Civil War type place, sitting next to the river, enjoying the sounds of the stream. Fantastic album, man. This is definitely if you don't have this album, man, definitely take the time to maybe look. It's on that beautiful Rebel label, which is very cool. Condition of this album is really good. It's really good. And then I was sitting there, and I didn't realize this till I got home, man. I got home, and I was going through my records that I had just purchased. And I had bought 2 of the same freaking records, man. 2 of the same records. And it was funny because Steve Carlson, he put a video up this week talking about picking up the same records. I'm thinking, I can't believe I'm this stupid. That I would actually pick up 2 of the same exact records, man. So this one here, it's Hills of Home. Got 2 copies, which is fine, man. It's okay. And then I picked this one up. Conway Twitty's Greatest Hits in stereo. This is on the MGM. It's only make believe, man. Lonely Blue Boy, Halfway to Heaven. It's a bluebird. It's a bluebird blue. To Hurt My Heart. You know me. I'm a big Conway Twitty fan. And then I see this one there. This is a little bit more of a newer country, but it's still not new. I guess I'm just getting old. But this is a newer one. It's George Strait. Fucking great album. I see this here. It's Greatest Hits, I think is what this is. Yeah, it's the Greatest Hits. This is on MCA. It's got Amarillo by Morning. You Look So Good in Love, man. What a beautiful song, man. That's such a wonderful song. Let's Fall to Pieces Together. A young George Strait. Very good, man. So, anyway, that's what I got for you. Pretty happy about my new turntable. You know, I really wasn't excited about the whole deal. I couldn't get excited about the record player until I got it. I got everything hooked up, and I was actually listening to it, man. And that Dynavector Total Arm, man, the way that it tracks, really sealed the deal for me, man. It was just totally wonderful. That's all I got for you, man. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. Brother Pride's out of here, man. Love you all. God bless you.